Walter, go to your right this time. Go towards Tom a little more. There you go. Okay, there you go. Perfect. Ready on 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Okay, thank you very much. The next one is the North Branford Food Pantry.
I'm not getting any taller.
No, you're good. No, you block it, Ron. All right, there's perfect, right there. Ready on 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1,
Sounds funny to do this. 1, 2, 3. Learning quick.
Okay. And the last one is the North Branford Land Trust.
She wants to take a picture.
It's okay. Someone can go behind. Yep.
Okay, Walter to the flag again. Tom, you're perfect now. Ron, I hear that way. Perfect.
Yeah, easier.
Ready on 3, 1, 2.
Anyone else want to take a picture? While they're hot.
If anyone from the organizations that we just took pictures from, if anyone wants to get up and say a few
So if
words,
you want to take a picture with us?
you can do that now. Or it's open to you.
Maybe. I'll take a picture. Right.
We'll return the board because it's like, yeah, so that's really high. Do you want me to return your board? Okay. Okay. I'll sign it over to you, yeah. It'll go far, right? Okay. A joint effort.
Sure.
On behalf of,
On
lacrosse.
behalf of North Branford Youth Lacrosse and North Branford Youth Football and Cheer, we want to say thank you.
And soccer.
Join us at Trevona.
There you go, Ed.
No, I know the league was able to purchase a new storage container for all of our very expensive equipment because the old container was like 30 years old and falling apart. So it's much appreciated. So thanks for thinking of us.
Yes, we were able to purchase goalie equipment and we got a lot of new goalies this year, which is great. On top of the uniforms that we provided this year for all of our kids. So that was a big, huge help. So I thank you very much.
Yeah, no, haven't put it to use yet, but I think we're looking at another field because we're adding another travel team. So we'll probably go to goals and also to help some families, who, financial assistance as
Yes,
well.
we did that as well. So yes.
Very cool.
So thank
Great.
you. Thank you
Great.
very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks.
Hi, so from the Food Pantry of North Branford, we of course want to thank everybody for allowing us to have these funds. For us, really where this is going to make a huge difference for us is because of the whole supply chain issue. The items that we were getting from our primary food source, Connecticut Food Share, that is really cut back. And so because of that, we're having to offset that by bouncing store to store 10 o'clock at night with our volunteers and get the items within Walmart and the different stores to be able to fill the shelves and to keep us going. So we appreciate it so much, and yeah, we're very excited. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank the council very much for donating this money to the Land Trust. We're very excited because it's giving us an opportunity to work not only with the library, but also with the Historical Society. And it really shows the importance of collaboration in this town with the nonprofits. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Reports of committees, boards, and commissions. Economic Development.
On Monday, June 3rd, the EDC committee convened with members of the Planning and Zoning Board and synchronized visions for the town's future. They anticipate Rex development with presentation of strategies for enhancing business retention in North Branford. Their next meeting is scheduled for September 9th.
Thank you. Park and Recreation. Park and Rec met last month, and their big focus right now is we're planning for the POCO. And so in regards to this, and we just had a POCO meeting last night, I just want to say a few words about the parking for the POCO is moving this year. It's going to be on the back field, so the entrance will be off of Totucket. This is not something that just happened in the last few days, as some people think that it has. Actually, this has come at the request of several departments in town, one being the police department, along with various other departments. And this was actually brought up to do last year, but because of the construction at Public Works and other things going on, we asked if we could delay it for a year. So it is going into effect this year. And I will tell you that we have met numerous times with the police department, with Public Works, with the fire marshal, everyone to deal with public safety. And yes, it is going to be different this year. Will there be hiccups? Most certainly, we're anticipating that to be. But we do have backup plans, and there are things that we will probably have to do on the fly if we get a lot of rain or whatever. But I will tell you that we have thought about this very carefully. I have talked to the town planner, Dave Perkins. We've gone over the site plan. We will be walking it with him next week. We realize the Farm River is there. We are taking that into consideration in laying out the parking. It's no different than the fields that we've been parking on that butt up to the Farm River. Our carnival people have used that backfield as their home for the week that they're here. So they will be moving, but we've been using that field. We do work with our tenant who leases the property from us and hays that field. So he is in total agreement with what we are doing. We work it out with him. So everything is in place. We will be moving it this year. And it's not something that was just happened overnight. So the police department, or actually the police commission, is the traffic authority in town. So it was at their request to move to the back. And that's what we are going to do. Route 22, I know there's rumors out there. We are not closing down Route 22, that's a state highway. We're just trying to move the traffic off of 22. We will have a lot of signs up directing people for parking on there. And we're just gonna see how it goes this year. So if anyone has any concerns, they're more than welcome to contact the POCO coordinating committee. We will try and answer any questions that we can and hope that it's very successful. So, next committee is Police Commission.
Before I talk about the police commission meeting, I'd like to invite everybody in the community to the swearing-in ceremony of Police Chief Lovelace and Deputy Chief Pendleton. It's going to be on July 17th at 6:30 p.m. in the auditorium. There will be light refreshments served, and I think it'll be a wonderful evening for us to celebrate our two new chiefs. So put it on your calendars, July 18th at 6:30 p.m.
No, 17.
I mean 17th. Okay, in terms of the meeting, the Officer of the Month is Officer Payne, who has done an outstanding job in working and getting help and getting the recent hit and run case in town. He did an outstanding job, and the chief was really pleased with all the work he did to solve that case. In terms of the new facility, the chief received approval for the septic and the elevator registration. There is a little issue, a sightline issue that I guess the police commission is working with the DOT on that. And the issue of a part-time custodian, because this is gonna be a much larger building, I think is coming up for the town council, or no?
No, it's not a count. They have the money in their
Okay,
budget,
so
so
that's
we don't have to.
But they are gonna need obviously more help in terms of, if you've been in the building, it's much bigger than the one we have now, so they're gonna need more help with custodians. The commission also voted to name the meeting room at the new facility as the Nicole Ferrucci Meeting Room. So that will be the name of the meeting room, and I think everybody's pleased with that decision. The police union contract has been approved by the union, and I know it's now at the council level. In terms of being the traffic authority, the police commission had a lengthy discussion about the lack of action on the part of the DOT about realigning Northford Center. I know that the chief has been in touch with Representative Candelora, and I think they're gonna be sending a letter, because it's really taking forever for the DOT to talk and to do something about the Northford Center. As people, you have to go through there between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock, it's almost impossible to move, and I think people are concerned about that. So that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Fire commission.
Yes, thank you. Fire commission last met on June 6th, 7 p.m. Went over report from the chief and some unfinished business, both policy related as well as staffing related for the EMS deputy assistant chief. Discussed some vehicle information for the deputy chief as well as a local EMS plan. The next meeting for July 11th, 2024 has been canceled due to lack of quorum. We'll report back for our August meeting.
Thank you. Planning and zoning?
The last meeting, there was only one item that was of any interest, which someone bought some land over there from the ones that New Big owned over on 17 heading towards Mill Pond, and they were gonna put in some apartments, like one-bedroom apartments, and there was a lot of opposition showing up to the meeting, and it was withdrawn. So I don't know what's gonna come out from that, but next meeting, that was really the only thing that really happened in that meeting, other than normal business, looking at regulations and so forth. So next meeting is this Thursday.
Okay, thank you. Finance subcommittee, we met last week on Wednesday. We moved it a day due to high school graduation on Tuesday. There are some items on our agenda later on. But one thing that we also discussed was the solar credits for the Board of Education and exactly how that's going to work. There was some misunderstanding as how that money was going to go into their Fund 25. And we will have a better idea of what that credit actually will be at the end of June, once we get the bills from there. And I know, Anthony, the UI kind of put a moratorium on all zero net metering as far as access. Has that been resolved yet? Okay, so not just North Branford, but any of their accounts?
Correct.
So they're trying to work out some glitches, so we do not have access to those bills yet, which also delay paying the solar company because we don't have the bills from them. So they're still working on that. And it's actually in their hands right now because they're the ones that have stopped access to everyone on that. So that's it. Finance Committee will meet next month. Public Safety Communications Subcommittee.
In a check of the radio system performance, Lieutenant Anderson drove around the entire town with a computer and was able to report there are no failures. So far so good with our new radio system. And all the equipment now has been removed from the Ocean Husky tower.
Okay, thank you. CIWWA.
That meeting is next Wednesday, June 26th.
Thank you. Blueprint Committee.
Blueprint Committee, we met last month, and the only thing that we did in that meeting was to set up a town center committee, and their task is just to evaluate what may be possible for a town center in the Auger Field area, Public Works area, just to come up with some ideas. So that's what they've been tasked with.
Okay. Veterans Service Commission. I don't know if there's anyone here. I know they were very pleased with their banner and their shirts, and they helped with the Memorial Day parade.
Right, they had a very good presence for that first time out, yeah.
Right, and also there was a number of them in attendance on Thursday night when they did the Flag Day ceremony here at Town Hall also. So, okay, on to Town Manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Beginning today, we're in for a stretch of very hot weather. Governor Lamont enacted state's extreme hot weather protocol effective today. In consideration of that, North Branford is open to cooling stations during the day for those that may need relief. The Town Hall and Atwater Library have been designated as cooling stations. Town Hall is available from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Atwater is available from 8:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. with access to the main entrance, community room, and bathroom during that time. They're open through Sunday of this week at Atwater and through Friday of the week at the Town Hall. Residents can also dial 211 or visit 211ct.org to find additional sheltering locations near them. Our annual Memorial Day Parade was held Monday, the 27th of May, and it was once again a great success. Special thanks to Gina Cox and Kathy Poston for taking the lead once again on behalf of our new Veterans Service Commission in organizing the parade. We managed to thread the needle when it came to weather, getting through just a little bit of rain. And thanks again to the Northford store and the Guilford Savings Bank for allowing us to place the review stand across the frontage of their property in Northford Center for this year's event. And special thanks to our local dignitaries who attended, including State Representative Vincent Candelora, Deputy Mayor Jeff McMillan, Councilor Nick Palladino, and Councilor Bruce Abelson. I was honored to attend the 8th grade graduation ceremony at NBIS last week with Mayor Angeloni and Deputy Mayor McMillan, and the high school graduation as well with Mayor Angeloni and Councilor Diamond. Best wishes go out to our 8th graders who are now embarking on high school, and best of luck to our new high school graduates who are embarking on college and military or beginning their careers. Also last week on Thursday evening, I was pleased to be on hand for the Honor Them with a Flag ceremony here at Town Hall, sponsored by the Northford North Branford Women's Club. The flags you see at the lawn at Town Hall are from this ceremony and were purchased by donors to commemorate someone who served in the armed forces or a first responder. Special thanks to Mayor Angeloni, Chuck Larkins, and members of the Veterans Service Commission, Acting Fire Chief Anthony Esposito, and the Combined Fire and Police Honor Guard, and local scouts who helped make the event a success. The flags will remain on display at Town Hall through the July 4th weekend. The town is scheduled to undergo a state-mandated property revaluation effective for the July 1st, 2025 tax bill. The purpose of revaluation is to ensure that no homeowner pays either more or less than their fair share of taxes. This is accomplished by updating real property assessments to reflect fair market values as of October 1st, 2024. The intent is not to raise taxes, but to create an equitable distribution of taxes. This is done by bringing assessments up to date, valuing all properties by the same standard at the same time, and eliminating inequities that may have occurred since the last revaluation. Property values have appreciably increased since our last revaluation in 2020. Change notices will be mailed to property owners in November of 2024. And you can also check out our frequently asked questions on revaluation by visiting the town website at northbranfordct.gov. Before the end of this month, the first of my monthly email newsletters to town residents on news and events in town will be made available. You can currently sign up to receive the newsletter on the town manager's page on our town website, northbranfordct.gov, and the sign-up form and link for will be available on my Facebook page and X account before the end of the week. And sign-up information is also included in this year's summer newsletter, which will be included in all tax bills sent out this year. The newsletter will also be archived on our website. North Branford Rotary Club is holding its annual Service Above Self dinner, honoring 3 individuals from the North Branford community who exemplify the meaning of service above self. This year, Ashley McLean, who spearheads Beyond the Horizon, Mary Ellen Delella of the Totucket Historical Society, and our own Assistant Director of Parks, Recreation, and Senior Center, Carrie Haynes, will be honored. We are thrilled to recognize all the honorees and offer them congratulations. The dinner is held June 27th, 6 p.m. at Woodwinds in Branford. North Branford Park and Rec is sponsoring the Skyhawk Sports and Game Camp for children ages 8 to 12 at Stanley T. Williams from June 17th to June 21st, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Skyhawks provides a wide variety of fun, safe, and positive programs, emphasizing critical lessons in sports and life such as teamwork, respect, and sportsmanship. These programs are designed to give children a positive introduction to sports. The sports and games include capture the flag, soccer, ultimate frisbee, kickball, baseball, foursquare, team handball, and many more. They're also sponsoring mini hawk baseball, basketball, and soccer for ages 4 to 7 at Stanley T. Williams, June 17th to June 21st, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. There will also be a superhero summer kickoff Sunday, June 23rd, 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at Stanley T. Williams with superhero crafts and activities. The event is sensory friendly and is in partnership with Beyond the Horizons for individuals with special needs. Registration is available for all these programs at Park and Rec's website, northbranfordct.myrec.com. Park and Rec is also teaming up with our library department to create a support system for parents and caregivers of children of all ages with special needs. The first meeting was June 4th, 12:30 p.m. at Edward Smith Library, and the next is June 20th, 6:30 p.m. at Stanley T. Williams in Northford. For the library at Atwater Library, tomorrow morning is a program on owl pellet forensics, arguably maybe the grossest program we've got going on this year. At 10:30 a.m., right after breakfast, you can explore owl pellets with forceps in a program that is instructive in teaching food webs, ecosystems, anatomy, and more. And this is presented by Meigs Point Nature Center and recommended for ages 6 to 12.
Maybe develop what owl pellet is?
An owl pellet is what is ejected from an owl after it consumes a rodent.
There it is. So it's vomit.
Yeah, so you pick through a vole femur out of a twist of hair and,
Yeah.
good.
Sounds
Just
like
in case
fun.
just to make sure you all understand, I am going to this, I'm gonna be there for this. The library's also begun a summer reading program for adults and teens with summer reading bingo. You can pick up bingo sheets and raffle tickets at either library location and start filling in squares with your summer reading. Bingo awards include a free item from the book sale and an entry into the grand prize drawing for a $100 Amazon gift card. The event is currently underway and concludes on August 16th, with the grand prize drawing on August 19th. And so I just want to recap some bridge work and construction updates for everybody. Mansfield Drive, Tommy's Path bridges, final paving has been completed on both bridge locations. The work associated with the bridge deck membrane system has been completed in entirety, and a guide rail system has been incorporated into the Tommy's Path bridge location. Mill Road Bridge, the sidewalk repair and replacement of the bridge deck membrane system has been completed. A protective layer of paving was installed, and final paving on the road surface should be completed within the next week or two, weather permitting. Circle Drive, the concrete repair work has been completed and the bridge deck membrane system was installed. The final paving was completed with minimal traffic disturbance. Harrison Road, concrete repair work due to water and salt intrusion has been completed. A concrete cap is being installed on the bridge deck to account for pavement structure deficiencies that were encountered during the demolition phase. A bridge deck membrane system will be installed where it was discovered that one did not previously exist. This location is closed to traffic for the week to expedite bridge deck improvement work. The work at Auger Road, Totucket Road, and Valley Road bridges is still pending. With the completion of the school year, Public Works may coordinate with the contractor and police department to arrange full lane closures and detours at either of these locations to facilitate the replacement of the bridge deck membrane systems. Paving Enterprise Drive and Old Turnpike East, reclaim and paving along the driveway aprons and curb installations has been completed at these two roads. And Branford Road 139, the state contractor has finished the final paving of the road. Curb installation and finished driveway apron should be completed by the end of the week, weather permitting. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. And now the town manager's report from the Permanent Project Building Committee.
For the North Branford Intermediate School, work is progressing now that school is out. The roof project is on schedule for the end of August with siding work to be completed in September. North Branford High School, the ceiling tile grid is substantially complete. Storefront is substantially complete, and flooring installation is scheduled to begin this week. With the North Branford Police Department EOC, state inspection on the elevator is scheduled for today. Building is complete with punch lists being worked through. The temporary certificate of occupancy is in process, and the move-in schedule is based on the police chief's plans to be after the 4th of July weekend. That concludes my report.
Okay, Chief Lovelace is here, and I know he has some updates as far as open houses that he just wants to kind of mention to the public.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thanks, Mike, for that update. So Kone is the elevator company that's installing the elevator, and this was one of our biggest holdups of not only occupying the building, but opening it up to the public, because obviously we want everybody to be able to enjoy those tours. So their test passed today. The state is actually coming in on Friday, where we should have the TCO on Friday. And then we can now bring in not only our people into the building to start installing other items, but we can open up to the public. So what we're looking at right now is the end of June. I'm focusing right on the 28th is my tentative first date. And then we're gonna have several other dates that follow that to give a variety of different times. So whether people are working or have different schedules, we'll be able to hopefully make the tours if that's available. Our anticipated date was, we were shooting for July 9th. I actually pushed that back today. We had some issues with some of our vendors in the IT room. I think it's too critical of a room to rush because once we cut over, that's it. We have to make it work at that point. So we're giving the vendors an extra week just to iron out the small details they need to. We anticipate that cutover to happen on July 16th, and then we'll be occupying the building from there because all our services will then be, it's a hot cut. So basically what they do is we roll out our 911 and our essential services to other locations, which is already set up. That's part of plans in case you lose 911. But then they actually remove several towers of servers out of our police department. They put them on a truck, they drive them across the street, and they have to reconnect everything and get it back up and running without hopefully any issues. So we're coming to the final plans of that and how that's going to work and transfer phone lines and stuff like that. But just give you an idea of that's when we anticipate to take occupancy of that building. So
Great.
all right.
All right. So once you have definite dates and times, can you just coordinate with the town manager's office so we can get it out to the public in various means? I know you guys post on your website, and then Mike can also post on his website, and just so that the public is informed.
Yeah, I should have those by the end of the week to the town manager, and we can get that out so everybody has enough time to make plans.
Okay.
Chief, before you walk away, I have a question. So is there any areas in the new department that has to be addressed before you do the TOC that's concerning? What hasn't been done that needs to still be done?
So the elevator was the most critical stage, and not just for tours, but for us to occupy the building, because that's a life safety issue. There's some cell work that's still going in. We had some issues of getting the ceilings in. Those just came in today when I was there. So those should be installed by the end of the week. And as far as any life safety concerns or functionality for us, those should all be addressed from what the GC is telling us by June 30th. They should be complete.
So before we sign off on a TOC, shouldn't that all be done first?
That's a decision up to the Permanent Project Building Committee, because it's by charter, it's their building before it becomes the commission's, passed over the commission, so.
Yep, that's right.
I'm sorry?
I said, yeah, that's correct.
I just have concerns if we're gonna start opening it up and we're gonna be occupying it. If that's, one of the concerns is the cell block, you're saying.
Yeah.
If that's not gonna be up and ready, then I have concerns, though.
Yeah, we're not gonna go in there and occupy if it's not. We can push our date out further, but from the June 30th date is what they're assuring us that all that work's gonna be completed. There will be some punched item lists along the way of small stuff. They've already been advised that If they're bringing their vendors in to do work, they have to meet our security standards that are going to be set up. So we've had those discussions and how that's going to progress, because that's going to progress for months.
But once you sign off on that TOC, isn't it our problem after that, or is it still the vendor's responsibility and architect and so forth?
No, it's still the responsibility to work through the punch list, so. The TCO, from my understanding, from how it's been explained to me, is that they met the life safety concerns before taking occupancy of the building, which is a smaller list, but obviously the most important list.
Just to be clear, everyone I work with has taken a tour of that building except for me.
Yeah.
Because I know if I go in there, I'm gonna have a lot of questions, so I just wanted to avoid it, so.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Chief. All right, next item on the agenda is citizen statements, petitions, and correspondence. A is a thank you letter from Water and Webb's Waterbird Rehabilitation Center, which is part of our packet. And we presented their check tonight, so thank you very much for your letter, and we hope that everything is working out and that you're able to establish your website and you can do some fundraising.
Oh yeah, that'll help a lot.
Okay.
And thank you all. And do we get to keep this? 'Cause
You do.
This is our first grant.
It is. Yeah, you do get to keep that.
Okay. Put
You
it
can-
on display.
You can take a picture and put it on your website so that people
Yeah,
know,
in
and
the
that's
letter,
great.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you all.
You got it.
And
Oh, you
item
want
B
that?
is a thank you letter to the mayor from the North Branford Police Department in recognition of my support to the police department during National Police Week. So that is also in our packet. Does anyone from the public have, would like to get up and have any comments at this time? Okay, moving on to resignations and appointments. First one is a resignation of Shauna Holzer from the Board of Education. I would just like to thank Shauna for all of her years on the Board of Education. She has resigned effective tomorrow, June 19th, as her work commitment, and also her daughter just graduated from high school, and she is moving on and has her commitments from work. So thank you, Shauna, for all of your work that you have contributed to the Board of Education and to the students in the town of North Branford. The next one is appointment of Marjorie Bonadies to the Board of Education effective June 19th, 24 to fill the unexpired term of Shauna Holzer, which expires on November 11th, 25.
Make the motion for the appointment of Marjorie Bonadies to the Board of Education effective 6/19/24 to fill the unexpired term of Shauna Holzer, which expires 11/11/25.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Next item is unfinished business, discussion and action, establishment of a town flag.
There we go again.
I actually asked
So-
minutes.
Now, we actually have samples.
So, sure, and to further complicate things, obviously, I sent a number of additional designs to the council, and they're included in this packet, but they were reflective of the discussion that council members had at the last meeting. And so I do have some samples which I can show you and pass around if I may. First one from our Paris collection.
Like, where's the samples in, or the pictures in here? Oh, wow, gotcha.
So here's one, just kind of give you an idea.
Oh, looks like Cuba.
Yeah.
Very Cuban.
The red, white, and blue.
Dominican.
Pass this on there.
North Branford, Dominican.
And then from the periwinkle collection of the purple, just so you can see what that looked like.
I know this is your dismay, but I actually asked a bunch of people,
Yeah.
and That's the most marketable one by far from the people that I've asked. I've asked at least 15 people in the, both.
Thank you, Gordon.
And
they all agree that
they all agree that
we should have
purple's the only one that would make
purple
sense.
colors.
I know you don't like it, I get it, I know it's.
Not that I don't like it, it's an option.
Mike's gonna kill me.
Well, from somebody who has a graphic design background too, I mean, I have to tell you, the red and the purple are a serious clash. The red, and I'll say this too, as somebody who grew up in town, who went to the school here, I mean, I think of purple as the high school. I don't think of it as the town, that's never been our colors.
As you drive the town and you see the signs for all the parks and all the buildings, it's not really purple, but it's like
Dark purple.
It's a darker blue-ish purple.
It's like blue.
Dark.
It's almost like blue, but it's not really blue, is it?
No, it's dark purple.
So like the color, I was more talking about
Communities,
the color
like
of
the
the
community
sign.
signs we have?
Can I have this if we don't choose this?
I think those are blue. That's going up on your house, isn't it?
I love it.
I'm not gonna get that back.
No, but we're
I really
missing,
do
in
like it.
addition to this, after Mike and I sat
Oh, yeah.
through graduation, we were thinking that we needed to add something to the flag, as the board chair talked about the T-bird and, what was it, flames coming out of the beak?
Shooting lightning from the beak.
Oh, shooting
Yeah.
lightning from the beak.
So-
And
We won't be doing that.
so we weren't quite sure if that should be, also go on to the town flag.
It's another possibility.
We had never heard about the T-bird shooting lightning.
There was an older version, a very civilized version that had some lightning coming off of it in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah. It was like a very linear version of a T-bird. It didn't look like a real bird. It was like, and it had some lightning going on.
Okay,
Just for the record,
Yeah.
I agree with what Mike, pretty much 100% of what Mike said. I think the purple clashes, and I don't like the purple on there. I think it's not with the flag, there's maybe a little bit of it somewhere, but I don't like it. That's my opinion.
okay, so in our packet, there are a number of versions of the flag with the red and blue. Oops, here we go. So I personally don't like the solid background. I prefer, I prefer the ones at the bottom, one of the last four where the town seal is in white so that it's very noticeable. And then you still have the blue or the red on the side.
If I were gonna go,
I would also note too, that in the last, at the very last on the second page, the one on the bottom left actually has a purple stripe. So it actually does incorporate the purple, but it's a little more understated.
Where's this purple stripe you speak of?
It's the chevron, that's the first chevron to the right of the seal.
That is it. That's literally it.
It's hard to see in our packet. So on page 32 in our packet are the flags.
I like the bottom two.
So,
I think we go with one that looks like the sign.
I gotta throw some little monkey wrenches, but when you think of Guilford, what color do you think of?
The blue background. The blue
I don't
background.
think of any color. I think their high school has
this one
green.
here,
But you think of green when you think of Guilford, right? But
Yes.
their town color, I don't think is actually green. But you think
No,
of
I
it's
green.
like the bottom two.
Marie, which one you like?
this one here.
I might be.
Bottom two are dark.
They look like some European country.
Yeah, one of this.
Or something nautical.
That's, Nick,
Yeah.
you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
The chevron ones look nautical.
They look very nautical.
I like the red, white, and blue one at the,
Well, we are a shoreline town with no shoreline.
Blue background.
yeah, the one to the right.
This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one I like.
Okay, so in order to move this along, would
Yep.
someone like to make a motion as to the flag design?
Are they numbered or named?
Item
Do we-
B5.
Do we kill the purple?
I
Wait,
didn't
wait,
number them, so, yeah. We could number them by, on the second page, from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
we
7,
did
8.
kill the purple.
I'll make a motion if you want. On the, I think that's the second page you're calling it, Mike?
Yep.
Yeah, the bottom right.
The red on the
version.
top?
Yeah, red on top, white in the middle, blue on the bottom.
Of the non.
To be our town flag.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, the motion was made by Councilor Felicia, seconded by Councilor Miller, to establish the town flag, which is the town seal in the middle, red on the top, a white in the middle, and blue on the bottom. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I actually have.
I'm gonna say yes, because I love it.
We should actually
Have this one
pick
for you.
3
I want that.
and send it out.
And
To
send
the
it-
town
For a vote?
Should, and
Oh,
have
at
it
the
vote
Pogo
on.
Festival, it's the largest crowd you're gonna get in North Branford residents. More than election day, probably should have.
It would be nice not to make it our decision.
Yeah.
You know, you have 9 people up here, but it would be nice for the body of North Branford to.
I mean, I'm sure that we can get more than 227 votes. To vote.
But we gotta narrow down.
But we have to pick out 3 and then send it out to them.
Well,
Somehow, some way.
I like the idea of having it at the Pogo
Poco
Fest.
Fly them at the Poco Fest and have them take. But they
And
have to be residents, they can't be, they have to be residents of North.
You gotta flag purple one though. You gotta do that striped one there, order one of the striped ones.
He's not gonna get away from the.
All right, Mayor Angeloni, I withdraw my motion.
okay, all right. So now we have to, so we have to pick 3 then, that we're going to.
And then fly them at the North, at the Poco Fest for North Branford, and hopefully we'll get mostly the North Branford residents that will vote. And more than 227.
Okay, so what are the other 2? You want one with the purple, the solid purple background,
I want flag number 2.
which is the solid purple background?
No, just solid blue background.
Number 2.
That match all our town signs.
Or is number 2 actually purple, that one?
That's blue. That's blue. That is blue. Yeah.
Oh,
I like the one with the stripes the best.
Did you do all these, Mike?
Right.
No,
Oh,
actually,
okay, so
Jess
second
Cave did,
page.
but I gotta give her compliments, because like, I was telling her what I wanted, and she actually interpreted it.
Yeah, you guys did a good job.
Number
Second
2.
page, first
I
one
don't
on
like
the
the
right.
white, the white would
Okay.
get so dank.
Okay, so we have on page 32 in our packet, it has the seal with a solid blue background. So that is one of the options. And
Mike, are those 2 flags the same? The first page, first one on the left, and the second page, first one on the right? They look the same.
one,
What's the difference?
Yeah, I think they probably are
I think they're the same, just
pretty much
one's
the same.
flipped.
It's a blue, it's a blue
Yeah,
background.
okay,
So those are the same?
yeah.
yeah, those 2 are the same. And do we want to throw in with a purple background?
I'd like to, but I might be outvoted on that one. Or a white, I like the white background too.
I would go with the purple before the white. The white's gonna look dirty.
The white will get dirty. It looks nice, but it will get dirty.
Okay, so then the third choice is with the purple background.
But we did the one with the stripes.
And we did, and the original one that, that they withdrew the motion on, those are the 3.
Right. Got it.
So
So we have to figure out a
Just
way.
figure out the mechanics of how we'll do this, but we'll figure out something, and I'll probably come before you guys at the next meeting with the kind of plan on how to conduct the voting.
So it's the
think it's
blue,
kinda
the
neat.
purple, and the check flag?
And
No, no. This one.
That's Norway.
Yeah.
Norway. It's not Northford anymore, it's Northway.
Okay, so we will come up with a plan as to how people can vote on this.
Yes.
And I'm sure we will have more than 227, because they have 3 days to vote.
Well, we
So,
have
more than
odds.
8 hours,
That's
so.
actually the perfect spot to do it, though, that's awesome.
Can we put some odds on this, on which one wins, and, throw some,
I'm sure
Extra
somebody's
ARPA
gonna
money?
be running a game
Have some
on it.
side bets on it there.
some side bets on it?
Okay, all right. So we have a public hearing that starts at 7:30, so we can get a few items done out of our new business. I know there are some people here that have items in section 13, but have other commitments, so I would like to have a motion to move item G, ARPA appropriation for one Wanco sign, because the chief and the director of public works will be talking about that. And then the other item is number L, the Poco Fest 2024 request to hold special event with beer and wine.
Motion is stipulated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we are gonna go with the ARPA appropriation first for one Wanco sign. Chief, can you just explain what that is?
Thank you again. So, as you know, we use the large signs for POCO, which tell people where to go and what their direction is, and communication is important, especially when it comes to roadways. The problem we have with only having one sign in town, which is a regional asset, it's not even ours, is that it only faces one direction, right? So that, you know, how do you communicate to both sides of town? Now, when you think outside the box of how many different events we have in town and how many different uses we could have throughout the year, those become a very valuable asset for us and for Public Works and for Park and Rec and for various other departments. So this request is just not for the Police Department or Public Works, it's really a town-wide asset that can be used anywhere. What we've also asked, and working with Dan Celentano and Franny, is that instead of me going out and getting another speed trailer, that we incorporate two functions into one. That's what this sign does. So if they're not using it, and our department's not using it, and I have another speed complaint, which at this time of year, we get many of them around town, that sign will function the same as a smaller speed trailer, which we have, which is not really functioning anymore. So it gives us another tool that we can deploy out there. The sign we found is on state contract. It is just under that $20,000 threshold, and it will be immensely valuable to the numerous departments in town for whatever the needs are for what we want to communicate to the residents. So,
And Anthony, how much?
You read in my mind. We're down to 19,000. And we have so many projects that have not gone down the road yet. And every project we've had required a little extra juice. I'd be hesitant to spend the balance of the ARPA money until some of these projects go further down the road. We have the money, you're gonna see a contingency appropriation later for 2 of the signs. We have enough to go 3 if you want to, we can backfill it as the time comes up. But I think to spend the entire balance of the ARPA money with so many projects that haven't even materialized yet is kind of risky.
Okay, so the problem I have on some of those projects is we allocated the money over a year ago, and just wondering, and we've reallocated to a number of projects along the way that have gone forward that were short of money.
Correct.
So which ones are you concerned about, and what are the status of those projects?
STW boiler, Jerome Harrison HVAC, I mean, almost everyone you got out there, potentially the largest one being the fiber project. I know the manager's working with the town attorney on that. The stairway between the Atwater onto the land trust property. A lot of these are just, you know, best guesses at the time. And I think, I don't think it's wise to bring that down to only $1,000 left with so many projects that are significant.
And so if there's not enough ARPA, if any of those projects come back to us and we don't have enough ARPA money anyway, then how do we fund them?
That would be up to the individual department to, if they had money inside their operating budget, to request a transfer out to the capital project fund to marry up with it. Well,
So we could run into the problem whether we had the ARPA money or not.
Yeah, oh, definitely, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of projects have not been completed yet. A lot have been completed, but, I mean, it's the risk you take, right? So if you spend every down to the last penny, and the fiber project comes in and needs $20,000 more, where do you get it from?
Okay, so the status of the fiber project, as I understand it, is we are still waiting for Wallingford Electric for permission to use their poles?
Correct. We finished the negotiations and we have a signed agreement with Southern New England Telephone, which is Frontier. Wallingford was just waiting for us to finalize it so they can piggyback with similar terms to see how we ended up negotiating with Frontier, which I've sent it out to them now. I
Okay.
just have to coordinate with them. I've given them the red line of the language we would want in it.
Okay. I guess, because part of the other problem is we have to have this money designated by December of '24.
Correct.
We designated over a year ago on these projects, and we're still waiting, so I just don't know. I mean, we have 6 months left. Are these projects that are still out there, are they gonna be done that we'll be able to designate this money? Are we gonna use it all
Well,
in
I think
there?
because we've designated before the deadline, we're safe with the.
No, I mean the 20,000 that's left.
The balance.
The balance, like if the fiber project goes nowhere this
Oh,
year,
You're 100% right. Yeah, if we don't designate it by the end of the calendar year, we're gonna forfeit it.
right? So, I'm just in a quandary here because we designated the money over a year ago on these projects and they're still not done.
Is it possible to retroactively put a date if they're not designated by September that the money's pulled back? It's gonna get called back by the federal government, so can we claw it back if they haven't allocated so that we can kind
Well,
of?
there's designation and there's
And
actual
there's actual-
allocation, so
correct, so-
designation is by December of this year, allocation is what,
You have to
August
spend
of
it by
next
the-
year or something like
No, you
that?
have to-
Spent by December of
December of
26.
26.
26, okay. So you has to be designated by this December, then you have a whole nother year to use it.
2 years.
2 years.
2 years, sorry.
I got $300,000 for Stanley T. Williams exterior projects. Who knows?
But, no, we don't. We didn't designate any ARPA money for,
Hey, community center exterior projects.
what, the,
That's the
sidewalk and pavilion, I believe.
Yeah, pavilion.
the pavilion?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, is 300 a good number? It's a big number. I don't know, any deviation could eat that $20,000 up pretty quickly. Like I said, those are the two big ones outstanding, the 300,000 for the pavilion slash.
I believe that number is locked, and I believe it's to be paid by the end of December.
Right, we were just waiting on getting into the schedule. It's all been ordered and everything, we're just waiting for the company to fit it into their schedule, on there. Okay, so if we didn't allocate the 20,000 to this sign, then you're saying we have money elsewhere to,
No.
no, to purchase this sign?
Well, I'm saying, you have a contingency appropriation later on to buy 2 of them for $39,200, which leaves you 23,000 left in contingency. So you can go to 3 out of contingency, basically deplete, we're at June 18th, so contingency is not a problem. I would be more comfortable taking the 3 out of contingency. And
Well,
then,
one of those signs, we already have a commitment between police, Public Works, and the Poco Fest to combine, and Public Works and police take money, do a line item transfer from current budget funds, and then Poco was contributing to that, so the 3 departments were buying one of the signs on there, so that can still happen. I know we had to do we have to do the contingency transfer initially so that we could issue the purchase order and have them ordered and in so that we can use them for the Cocoa Fest.
why don't we do the third one then, on that triangle that you're talking about? Why don't we do the 2 in contingency? And the third one that you're gonna have the 3 departments kick in, that'll be the third one. I'll work with Jimmy and Jesse and spur it that way.
That makes sense.
The 2 projects that are for the boiler and the HVAC, aren't those being done for the summer? Aren't they being done like now, because school's over?
Yes,
I imagine so, yeah.
yes.
So everything everything has been, the contracts have been signed and.
That I don't know. The HVAC is,
Who's in charge of the
Yeah,
fund?
if it's happening now,
I
it's
think
gotta
that
be
is
signed,
under
right?
John's Board of
I showed
Education.
that over- I thought we had
I
that.
think John has that.
I know.
no, we,
So those two
that,
projects should be, they
Today.
should be, contracts are signed, so I don't understand how, if there's any surprises for billing on those two projects. For the
I
boiler and
personally have
also
not
for the-
seen any contract with the Jerome Harrison HVAC. I'm sure the 50, like I said, was an estimate when we started talking about this.
Well, I know they're talking about.
Right, so is that a real number, 50? I don't know.
Rose,
What?
I mean,
do
it's-
we
it's
have we have a meeting next month?
yes.
Well, what's the difference?
Maybe we get an
whether-
update from Board of Education on this?
I'm not following the difference if we use the contingency for signs, or we use the contingency for
That's what I was.
the unknowns on overages. What's the difference?
No, the you already have a motion for two contingency, science, not contingency already, right? ARPA, you have about $20,000 left. The sign you're talking about is like 19, 18 change. That would deplete that. So if the $50,000 for the HVAC came in $5,000, $10,000 short, you have a little bit of a cushion. If the pavilion at Park and Rec came in a little short, you have a little cushion. If you deplete that cushion, where are you getting the money from? You got the departments to scrape it out of their budget?
Well, no, contingency is done on June 30th.
Right. So where are you gonna find that balance?
Makes
ARPA
sense.
can live on to December 31st. It gives you 6 more months to say, okay,
That makes
let's
sense.
get that project down the road. Exactly.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks.
Correct. Fiscal year wise.
It's a risk. I mean, I'm not a risk-taking guy, but I don't, you don't know. There's big projects out there that could cost overruns. And we have the $20,000 now
Okay.
to accomplish those. If we lose that, then we're kind of going back to the department and saying,
I think
Don't
we
use any of those?
take the direction of our finance director.
There are some left over.
I will add, my department came in under 20,000, so
Okay.
put that out there.
All right. Okay, so we have the explanation of the Wanco sign from the police chief. And we have Anthony's explanation on ARPA funding. I will defer to Anthony's explanation as far as holding ARPA funding at this point until some of these larger projects get completed, and we have up until December on there, and we can move ahead on the signs later on in the agenda when we have the contingency.
and I'll work with the departments involved in that, 3 departments, get that for you for your next agenda for the transfer, move the money into that, and we'll buy it with that money.
Good.
Okay, okay. I know it's past 7:30, but I just want to just complete this Poco Fest 2024, item L. And I believe there should be an email, yes, in our packet that was sent from the Poco coordinator,
Yep.
Steve Torino. Steve, do you want to just come up for a minute?
Yes.
Motion.
We're looking for your approval to, for you guys to give us permission to have a beer and wine garden at the Potato Festival as years past. We have transitions and working with a vendor that has been a long-time food vendor who now has a traveling liquor license, just like last year's vendor that we used, is gonna attempt to do this for us. So he's been asking, he doesn't want to do the food portion, he's gonna do this portion, so same as last year. His license, his insurance, will have the rider, his responsibilities. Hopefully all 9 of you, well 8, because Rose has no choice, will sign up and volunteer and, assist like you all did last year. But that's what I'm here for tonight.
Okay.
Yes.
States we have to get permission.
Like I asked, it's double the size, right?
The tent will be bigger.
The
and
tent
it'll
will be
lit.
double,
We'll have lights in it.
and,
It was well received last year. I think people enjoyed it.
there will be lights, because it'll be our rules this time.
Good.
Yelled at a lot.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to allow the request as stipulated for the special event with beer and wine for the POCO Festival 2024.
I'll second.
Okay, motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Miller. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Madam Mayor, before I end, if I heard that right, if you guys approve that appropriation, transfer of funds for those 2 signs in July, we won't have those signs in time for POCO.
No, the purchase order has already been issued, and I did see the email from Mike Fumiati that said it was issued and that they will be in by the middle of July.
Because I'm not quite sure where that will be.
So we should have those 2, and based on our action later on, if we can possibly get the 3rd one, we can call up to see if we can throw the 3rd one on, and we might have 3 of them. And then,
August 10th.
right. As was stated, Franny does have one. It's a regional asset though. It's stored in North Branford. And we also, Franny does borrow from other towns. Usually Durham has some. So we do anticipate having more signs, but we are trying to build up our capital with POCO funds and buying things so that we don't have to continually rent them. So that was the purpose of the 3 departments coming together on that. So, okay, now we are going to start the public hearing. There should be a notice, and I haven't found it in our packet yet, because we need to read where the public, is that?
Page 22, Rose.
Oh, okay. I've got it. Marie, can you
Yes.
read the notice of the public hearing?
Notice of public hearing. The North Branford Town Council will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, June 18th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. in the North Branford Town Hall Council Chambers. The purpose of the public hearing will be to hear comments on proposed ordinance number 2024-1 entitled Light Ordinance is summarized below. The purpose of this new ordinance is to prevent and remedy blighted properties in the town of North Branford pursuant to the provisions of Connecticut General Statute 7-148C, 7H, XV, 7-14AAA, and 7-148GG, or as such may be amended from time to time. A copy of the proposed ordinance is on file at the office of the town clerk and posted on the town's website. Dated at North Branford, Connecticut, this 29th of May, 2024, leasable and date, now North Branford Town Clerk. Email public comments to the public comments at townofnorthbranfordct.com. Publication date June 13th, 2024 in the Sound.
Thank you. Okay, so the public hearing is now open. If there's anyone here from the public that would like to come up, please state your name and address, and you can come up and make your comments, public comments.
Bill Savastano, Sunnyside Drive. Mike, I look forward to your owl pellet report.
I do too.
Anyway, thank you to Brian and Dave and Rory and Mike for putting this ordinance together. As you know, some of you know in the council, I've been at this for a few years now. I think it's needed. We never talk punitive, although some people have. This can be a good thing. But what I don't see in there is who's going to be the enforcer. I understand from what I read that it would be designated by the town manager. But I think, going back a few years, when we had Tom Hogarty, and I'm on record for speaking how well he did while he was here, I think that person should be hired. Now, from a meeting you had last October, I think it was discovered that we still had money in the budget. That's been carried over since Tom left in 2020 or 21. So that's the key, I think. I think the ordinance is fine, unless anybody's got some objections or something. But I think you gotta have the right person. Tom was good. He did a lot of good. As you remember, going back a few months when we had a number of items I offered for your packet, Tom did reports. I don't know if he did that on his own or if he was asked to do it by Kerry, the town manager at the time. So Tom was an addition to Kerry Duquesne, who was the town planner and the CEO. So there must have been a reason that person was hired. And, like I say, he did good. So hopefully you have some discussion on it. We get it done. I will say that I see going on after the hearing, going on later in the agenda, there is no discussion about it.
Yeah, there is.
It's
It's item, yeah, it's item C, 13C.
Okay, well, I missed it. Sorry about that. Well, thanks again for everything that was done. Hope we got it done. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bill.
Potter, I don't think we're in the middle of Town Avenue. Maybe this is backwards. Maybe we should hear the ordinance before the town, what if I put a rusty old farm tractor on my lawn? Is that lawn art or is that blight? To me, it's wonderful. I'm a farm fan. And again, who's going to enforce it? We have the questions, but that's going to be discussed after the public hearing. So I think that, like Bill says, who's going to determine what's blight, what's not blight, and who's going to enforce it? And what's the action if it doesn't get enforced? And I know, Bill, you had that veteran that had a problem. And that was more of an issue, but house was terrible. I mean, you went by it. It took how many years to clean it up?
A couple.
Yeah. So again, we know of situations, but again, how are we going to address them? Who's going to enforce them? And how do we? And again, it's going to be a personal opinion, or is there going to be a ruling like, okay, is that blight, or is that part of what that person does? And so there's a thin line between what's blight, what's not, and how do you not alienate people? I don't know, it's a touchy subject. We've been pretty fortunate to a degree that everybody kind of keeps up their houses, but the ones that weren't, we tried to work with the people, and there was reasons they couldn't do it. But there's still a lot of people that still have abandoned cars in their yard, stuff like that. And again, I think the tax department got involved. I think they would start seeing if they run the tax rolls or not. But again, it's a can of worms, and I hope it's going to I hope it works, that's all I'm saying. And I hope we don't aggravate citizens to a point, but yet they got to be responsible. I mean, I pick up trash in front of my house all the time, because if people are too lazy I do it because I live on a main road. I mean, it's everyday blight, but it's just part of living on a main road. You got to do it. So again, those are just my concerns. What's lawn art? What's blight? How do we handle it? Who handles it? We can't tie the cops up all the time to go pick on Johnny Jones, who's got a bush that's so big that nobody can see around the corner. I mean, is that blight or is that maintenance? Well, he loves it. It's a lawn art. So again, there's going to be some growing pains, but I hope there's something in the thing they're going to tell us about later that covers all that. And maybe you ought to open it up for public discussion after that again, because we don't know what's in there, but yet we're having a public hearing.
Well, that's why it's been out there and it's been on the website and it's been that you can get copies. That's the whole idea of the public hearing, is you have time beforehand.
Okay.
It's all been published.
Okay.
as to
My bad.
all of that. So,
I have, well, I know Michael doesn't like to hear this. I have trouble finding anything on the town website. It's just meeting minutes, there's a tab for it, but try to find them. You can get the agendas, but you can't get the minutes. So again, I gotta learn more. But I'm old. Look, here's my hard drive. Right here, a hard drive, an old military blue, yellow. No batteries. Input. I'm old.
Well, if you come in, I'll go over the whole thing.
and-
Do a class on it.
Bill-
It'll be good.
Bill, there's someone else that hasn't spoken yet.
Hello, everyone. John Daddio, Notch Hill Road. First of all, I'd like to commend the council and the town and the town manager for coming up with this. Okay, and I'm sure you all know and have seen areas of this town that should be torn down or are not kept up to any decent condition. Okay, we live on Notch Hill Road. Notch Hill Road has 4 or 5 of those locations. Okay, we're right now arguing with the town of Guilford over one that's on the corner. Okay, producing rodents in people's houses, snakes in people's houses. Okay. Reading this, I think it is very clear. Okay, I think whoever wrote this, the attorney that put this together, did a great job. All the towns around us have a blight ordinance. We are the only ones that did not. And I recommend that you vote yes for this ordinance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, one more thing, I'm sorry. I thought I just reminded you. As far as the enforcement part of it, okay, it should be people that are knowledgeable. Your building inspectors, okay, your engineers, people that have that kind of background that can go evaluate the situation and come back with a recommendation. That's my position. Thank you.
Town attorney too. Town attorney for legal action.
Get Brian to run around town.
Bill Savage, just to add that, since Cliff brought it up about, that's how I got involved with this order we had on Sunnyside Drive. It's like 6, 7 years ago. He's a fellow veteran, I actually tried to get him some help. But also at the time, I went even further, over and above the VA giving him some help, was the Branford Healthcare. And I noticed that we are affiliated with them now. Aren't we sort of regionalizing with them on some items? Anyway, I called Branford Healthcare at the time because it was obviously they could send a person out that could possibly help us, but there was going to be a fee involved. So I don't know how we're hooked up with them now. But anyway, I wanted to mention that. And along with that, and I've been advocating this, I'm on the record to say that we should have a mission statement with our Public Health and Safety Commission and add welfare to it. Get that committee involved with any extreme cases or something like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Jan Ferraro, Notch Hill Road. I just want to support what my neighbor John Daddio so eloquently put in, and actually to quote Lizzo, it's about damn time. Because, and if you don't know who Lizzo is, please, for the love, look her up. It also becomes a health hazard, right? We got rodents and snakes in people's homes because of blight. That's a health hazard. We have to be concerned for all of our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, just to touch on Bill's earlier comment, the CEO position is not budgeted in 24, 25.
The,
Part-time
okay.
CEO.
Part-time
Yeah.
position that was.
Right.
Marietta Daddio, Notch Hill Road, North Branford. Some of you know me, some of you don't know me. I've worked for the town of North Branford in various departments for 33 years. This ordinance is long overdue. We are surrounded by East Haven, Guilford, North Haven, and Branford, which have blight ordinances. We need to ask you to please consider this ordinance seriously. We have several places in town that need someone strong enough to get them to act in a decent manner to correct what their places look like for the rest of the town. It's not just what happens next door to you, down the street from you, it's what happens in the whole town. If you were to put your home up for sale and there was blight not that far away or in a town that doesn't have that kind of ordinance, when we are surrounded by it, that's serious. It's a serious matter that needs to be looked into and taken seriously. There are situations where, yes, people will complain, and there are steps to be taken. East Shore District Health is the one who services our town. They also service East Haven and Branford. We can look to them for help. If we have a problem, we can call them. And I will tell you that the mice and the snakes that are in our neighborhood right now from at least 2 homes that are really in serious, serious condition. One in Guilford and one in North Branford. And I currently, along with others in the neighborhood, are dealing with Guilford right now on theirs because it abuts property in North Branford. So again, I just ask you to please consider this ordinance seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments?
Barbara Liston from Notch Hill Road. I understand the health issue and the property valuation, but I am truly concerned about 2 properties that if they have a fire, that puts all of our properties in serious jeopardy. And there are a lot of properties that would be in danger. And our fire departments, I understand that there'd probably be Guilford, Branford, and North Branford. And we've seen the fire at Bill Miller's, which threatened all of our properties. And these other 2 properties that are near and dear to our hearts are even closer. So I just think that a blight law would be a way of addressing the issue before we get into serious health problems or a serious fire issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more public comments?
Yeah, I would like to make a comment. I spent a lot of time reading this a couple months ago when it first came out, and at the time I asked if we could add abandoned dumpsters. I actually had a call tonight from a resident who couldn't make it tonight. I'm disappointed that we didn't put that in there because there are properties in this town where people just They leave dumpsters out there and they keep dumping stuff in and it's really messy. I'm just
If I may-
disappointed
We
it's not
we
in
can
there.
do that
We
when
do
we
have
get
it in
to
here.
the item.
Okay, but I just want to go on
Yeah.
record that I did ask that a while ago.
It is in there. We added it.
Yeah, it is added.
It is, it's in, if you turn to the second page, under two definitions, C, Roman numeral 4, the presence of a trash dumpster in excess of 5 yards for 30 or more consecutive days. So we took that request you made and added it to this
Okay.
item.
Okay, but that's fine, we can, when we get to that item on the agenda, we can make sure on that.
I would appreciate that.
Are there any other public comments? Okay, hearing none, I will close the public hearing at 7:58 PM. Okay. And now we'll just continue on with our agenda. So we are up to item 13A, approval of master municipal agreement for construction projects.
Yep, Madam Mayor, regrettably, this takes up the largest bulk portion of your agenda. It's an inch thick, but this is the MMAC agreement, which ours currently expires July 18th. There's some modifications which I highlighted in the cover memo, but essentially this is just our basic agreement to allow us to do construction projects in conjunction with the Department of Transportation. It's been reviewed by the town attorney and is recommended for your passage this evening.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion. North Branford Town Council hereby authorizes Town Manager Michael P. Downs to execute the Master Municipal Agreement for construction projects on behalf of the town of North Branford with the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation.
I have a second.
Second.
Motion has been made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Palladino. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Next item is contract between the town of North Branford and Soundview Family Central Connecticut Coast YMCA.
Essentially, this is, you may remember when the YMCA was here, I think it was 2 months ago, discussing, what they might be able to do in conjunction with the town. Jessica Tano sat down with Mike Fumiati and the Y, reviewed it with the town attorney and I, and came up with a proposal for having the Y operate the after-school programs at Stanley T. And this is a draft agreement to accomplish that.
Okay.
Mike, did they discuss having North Branford represented at the Y itself? Like, for instance, we have the logos of our mascots, the mascots for Guilford and for Branford there. Would they be willing to do that for North Branford as well, so it feels like we're part of that?
I could certainly address that.
Matt is usually, I think I might have mentioned to Matt one time, briefly, but I don't know if they've done it. They may have already done it, for all I know. I haven't been there in a bit, but.
So are they presently doing the after-school programs for us?
No.
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 This would be new.
So this is new.
And they do a really good job with that stuff.
What's the benefits in the town,
It's less of a drain on our staff resources. It puts it in the hands of some certified professionals that do this. They have a long track record and history of doing these programs.
Any cost to the town?
Yes.
Are they still gonna be doing them at Stanley T?
Yep.
So it's just actually providing their staff?
Yep, their staff and resources.
Is it gonna cost any additional release to the families?
Will they pay now?
I noticed. absolutely aware of that. Is there gonna be an additional cost?
I don't think so. I think it's the same. The town attorney might be able to.
I don't think we have,
clarify that.
I don't have their fee schedule.
Yeah.
I know the town gets a percentage of it.
Well, it says here in the, that the compensation is,
15%. 50% registration, yeah.
I don't think it specifies what the families are charged, though, right?
no, because it would depend, right now, the program that we offer is just twice a week, Mondays and Wednesday. So it depends, if they're gonna open this so that it's 5 days a week, then of course the cost of the program is gonna be much different than what it is now on
My
there.
kids used the after-school program not many years ago, so fully aware of it.
It's a good thing.
So I think it's a good option for other people, for people to have. I know the Board of Education does have a program also for Jerome Harrison and for Tucket Valley, which is the pre-K to 5th grade. So I think having another option is a very good idea. And to have an organization that runs it like this, Mike is absolutely right. The amount of work that goes into that program and into a program like this would definitely free up our staff on there. And this is part of what they do. So.
I would make a motion if it's viable to do so at this point.
Yep.
My only concern is that we don't get hit in another month or two with, oh, by the way, we have this bill. As long as there's no additional cost to the town.
No, the town actually gets a percentage
You
of
get
what the
paid.
Y charges. It costs the town nothing.
Okay.
There's no obligation.
Yeah,
for the
that's
town
just
to
what I
pay
was
anything.
from it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion, good.
The wording on the compensation kind of confuses me.
Okay, good.
15% per registration participant to North Branford. So we're getting 15% and they're getting 85%?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're paying the staff.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I mean, that's the biggest cost of the program.
Yep.
Is paying your staff.
And we're using our
Where does
our
the
facility
liability
per se.
fall?
They're
So,
providing liability.
This program,
They have liability insurance.
this program's conducted at the Y
No, in North Branford, Stanley T. Williams, or Northford, Stanley T. Williams,
with their.
with their staff, which is the bulk of the cost for these programs, that and the program. So that's what you're paying for typically when you have these programs in place. I can tell you as a parent in town, a young one, these are really, really useful programs to have. There's a lot of two-parent homes, two-parent income homes right now where they need programs like this, to have a safe place for the kids to go. So I really support this.
It used to be there 5 days a week, but that, I'm kidding myself. So I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, that's what
So I'm assuming that we're bringing it back to do 5 days a week, but the Y is gonna be managing.
Resources.
Right.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with a contract between the town of North Branford and the Soundview Family in Central Connecticut Coast YMCA as stipulated.
Do I have a second?
Full program.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion has been made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Discussion?
I'm sorry, I can't get it up. How long is the contract for?
Just 1 year.
1
It
year?
starts
Okay.
August of '24. It starts on page 163.
No, I know it's not working on it.
Okay. And it goes to June 30th of '25. So it's the school year.
Okay, thank you.
If I have to just review it, I think for a year to see how it goes.
That's why we kept it a short term.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay, proposed ordinance 2024-1 entitled Blight Ordinance.
I will also throw my hat in the ring on this. I think it's an important thing that North Branford has this in place as stipulated by some folks that spoke during the ordinance, during the open time period. That's we're the only town in the area that doesn't have this. It doesn't only affect townspeople. That's not aimed towards picking on homeowners or having neighbors, tattle on one another for lawn art or for whatever it may be. And I can understand where that would be concerned, but there's also, it helps with, as we said, property values, health and safety, and businesses that are not maintaining in town and the way they should. And I think we all know that there are some businesses in town that are not kept up to snuff, and thus they're empty and they're an eyesore. And it's an economic drain for our town, and that's something we need to take into account. So this is just a step in the right direction towards building, more economic, viable town. We should say open to business per se. So I waive my support onto this.
Just so the public knows, so the original blight ordinance that came before us originally, based on discussion that the council had, there were some changes and modifications, and the modifications include adding boats within the definition of motor vehicles, adding collapsing fencing, gutters, and downspouts, accepting property that is classified as farmland, forest, or open space from overgrowth provisions, adding a formalized process for complaints of blight, adding special considerations for those who are elderly, disabled, or active members of any branch of the military. So those were things that were added to the original proposal that came to us. So, and those were things that had been talked about at various meetings prior to it, and so it was incorporated into the blight ordinance that is presented to us now.
Not to make you repeat that, Rose, but what you just said is those are all part of that ordinance right now.
Correct.
It's
They were,
all
it
part of
was
it.
modified and added into what was originally presented to us. So what is before us right now, those changes have been made, and it has been added in here. So.
Madam Mayor, I've always been in support of this. The only thing that's confused me all along, and maybe our town attorney can refresh my memory, but it seemed very symbolic in the past as far as not having, I don't see the sense in doing it if there's no bite in it, right? So if somebody continuously refuses to comply with the complaints and people going out there, what's the process? What are the repercussions, and what's the bite?
The bite is a financial penalty and a lien on their home.
Okay.
And in an extreme case, the town having the right to go to the exterior and remediate as necessary the exterior of a premises and charge the homeowner for that.
Okay. Thank you. Perfect answer. I appreciate it.
It's a good tool to have along with your other tools that you have. It's one of many arrows in the quiver. You've got building code, you've got health code violations, you've got this now to deal with the properties that need to be addressed.
Brent, what about commercial? With the homeowner, we've hit that. But let's say someone in commercial is the price of doing business, and they don't care about the fine. Is there the ability to kind of push their hand?
They will care about the fine, because you can assess your maximum of $250 a day against them. It gets. Okay, we have similar ordinances in other towns. It gets the attention.
Gets the point across. Great. Okay.
That's great. Thank you very much, Bill.
And how would we manage this process?
So you have, the town manager will designate any of the following as blight enforcement agents: the zoning enforcement officer, the building official, the superintendent of public works, and/or the foreman of public works. They're your blight enforcement officers to go out to do, and those are the people that most likely this will come to the attention first, given their roles in the community. They will go out there, issue citations. You then have a hearing officer, so someone can challenge. If someone comes in and says, my property's not blighted, you're wrong about that, they have an opportunity to come in with an explanation or an effort to work out a way to resolve this. We'll see that as well. Once you issue the citation, someone comes in from a hearing, they apologize, they want to work, coming up with a schedule, to remediate the conditions. So you have a hearing process as well.
So then that means that we're on top of our managing our zoning regulations currently?
Well, you have a zoning enforcement officer now
I
whose job
understand that, but
includes
what
the-
my
that,
question though is,
not blight.
do we
'cause-
have the bandwidth? Do we have the bandwidth with our employees to manage this, add this responsibility onto their daily duties?
I think so, I'm comfortable with it, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a process of evaluating. I mean, we're not gonna really know what it's like until we hit the ground with it, but based on what we've seen and what we already know is present in the town, and my discussions with our town planner, yeah, I think we.
I mean, because I know there's things that are out there that I just learned the other day that we don't have regulations for, yet they're built and standing and operating. And I don't see how that happens if we're on top of our game, basically. Case in point, there's an electronic sign at the school complex. And from my understanding, we don't have a regulation that is out of compliance, is we have no regulation for it. That's what, so how do things like that, so my point is, how are we gonna manage something in addition to when we can't manage what we have?
I don't know that we don't manage what we have, I think we do.
Okay.
And I think that this is a fair addition to the duties of the individuals listed in this. Primarily it would fall on the town planner as the
Okay.
zoning enforcement officer.
So even though we don't have a specific job of zoning enforcement officer,
Well, we do, the town planner is designated as the zoning enforcement officer.
right, I mean, we used to have a part-time position
Right.
in the budget
Yep.
for zoning enforcement officer. That is no longer in the budget, but that person, that job has been put to the town planner, as part of the town planner position.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so, is there any other discussion, comments? Marie, are you happy with the thing about the dumpsters?
As long as there's something in there.
We have a provision that presence of a trash dumpster in excess of 5 yards for 30 or more days. So that doesn't preclude someone who's remodeling or getting a roof or cleaning out the house from having a dumpster there.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed ordinance number 2024-1 entitled Blight Ordinance for the Town of North Branford.
Second.
Motion has been made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Palladino. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. So just so you know, an ordinance does not go into effect until it gets published in, it's a 21-day. So it doesn't take effect tomorrow, even though we voted on it. There is a whole process, but it's the beginning of the process. So within so many days, the ordinance, and that will also give us time, because it did say in there that the form will be on the website, because there will be an actual form that people can fill out for a blight that will get submitted, and then, they will start the action on it. So during this 21 days time period, that will all be taken care of on there, so people will be able to see that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, next item, local EMS plan.
Doesn't require council action, but I felt because the mayor's signature is required, that it was prudent to have the council just bless it. It's a document that the fire commission has reviewed. It's required every 5 years to resubmit to the state what your local EMS plan is. Talks about things like mutual aid policies, quality of insurance, different units that you have, how many ambulances, things like that. Again, it went through the fire commission. They blessed it to send it on to the council for both the mayor and the manager's signature.
as you stipulated, the fire commissioner who's really digested this.
Right,
Has
right.
suggested it's something that has to be done. It's not like reinventing the wheel. It's
No.
something that happens every 5 years.
Every 5 years. It's just, I just felt because the mayor's signature was on it,
Yeah.
it's just wise to have her at council bless it.
Yeah, I can make the motion. Be hereby resolved that the general council, based on the recommendation of the Board of Fire Commissioners, votes to authorize Mayor Rose Angeloni and Town Manager Michael Downs to sign the 2024 local emergency service plan as submitted.
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, second by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay, next is appropriation transfers.
Madam Mayor, these are the ones that the Finance Committee saw. Just thinking based on our conversation earlier tonight, and given the fact that if the goal is to get that last trailer in time for the festival, could we amend this motion to include the ability to transfer 6201 from each of the 3 departments and purchase that third one immediately to get it in time? If we do it in the July meeting, it's not gonna happen in time for the festival.
Fine.
So I would say if you want, the wording that's on top, and also furthermore to allow the treasurer and finance director and town manager to work with the 3 departments, police department, public works, and potato festival, transferring the necessary funds to buy the third light tower / speed trailer.
Rainbow sign.
Wayne Coast, yeah.
Okay, do I?
Resolved that the North River Town Council hereby approves the following appropriations transfers as recommended by the town manager, the treasurer, finance director, and is also amended by the treasurer, finance director.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Thank you. Motion carries. Financial report.
Financial report, glad to announce that the trend has continued where we are exceeding last year's revenue. Percentage-wise, 98.6% collected currently compared to 95.7 last year. On the expense side of the house, we're underspending compared to last year, which is great. 85.1% compared to 86.6%. Same characters that are overexpended. Town attorney, there's a lot of negotiations going on, labor negotiations, as you're gonna come across later.
Characters?
Technology department, the emergency management due to the generator issue at MBIS. Aside from the financial report, I just wanted to report that the manager and I participated the other day in our pre-bidding conference relating to Standard & Poor's for our rating for the upcoming bond sale. And along with Mark Chapman, our financial advisor. I think it went very well. The gentleman on the other side on Standing & Poor's had some questions, had some things he wanted. We've supplied the information to him, and I think it's gonna be, the problem we're gonna run into is that the rates, as we talked about last year, the short-term rates are almost identical to the 20-year rates now. If you remember when we started the whole school project, we were paying about 1% for 1-year notes. Those can be about 3.85%, same as a 20-year bond currently now. So although those projects are gonna bear a little bit more interest expense, offset by a little bit of bond premium and band premium, but it's just a matter of, again, that fine line. You can't really bond the entire amounts now because your debt service would go up to $8 million a year, which we don't wanna do that. We wanna try to keep it as consistent as possible, about 6.5. So that was favorable. Anybody have any comments or questions on the financial report?
Okay, next is contingency appropriation.
Madam Mayor, as you alluded to earlier last week when we were at the state emergency planning exercise, the topic of ordering these signs came forward to expeditiously order them, to have them in place for the upcoming Potato Festival. So the cleanest way to do it was take it out of contingency so that a purchase order could be written. And again, there is, as you see there, about $23,000 left in contingency. We will definitely use that before we'll transfer that money, even if it spills into July, we'll transfer it back to the June numbers, which won't be closed for a couple of months. So again, it's basically buying 2 of those message signs that, as Chief mentioned, have a combination of radar package as well. So there'll be signboards as well as radar function.
And there are signboards that are dual sides, not just
Yes.
one. So, kind of handy. Okay. Do I have a motion?
That the town manager is hereby authorized to appropriate from reserves for contingency account 1,000, etc.
Second.
Motion has been made. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Next item is new software, quality data service.
I would like to say that I use both software products, and they both are very, very good. However, I prefer QDS. It will make my life that much easier as far as providing service for our taxpayers. And Jerry has some specifics you'd like to discuss.
Yeah, and I think they're in the packets, it gives you the difference between QDS and GEMS, which is what we use now. And then there's some samples in there also that are actually from another town that'll show you, and honestly, yes, we're more of a farm town, so a lot of people have a lot of vehicles. And they'll all be on one bill as long as everything is exactly the same. So first name, no initial, last name, it would all be on the same bill, which actually makes it a lot easier than trying to pay 20 vehicles. They actually do, and I know I had this happen to me, because I had purchased it only like 4.5 years ago here. And to look it up, say I bought it in October, I'm gonna start October 1st. So come July, I went to look it up, I had to look it up under the old owner's name. Because it'll say the old owner's name, and then it'll say the new owner, and it'll say NO, which is new owner, of course. But in QDS, it automatically switches over to the new owner's name, which is a good thing. We actually have, it was the way things are processed. So if we look at the front screen on the system we're now, it'll say it's sewer and they owe $250. Now it's, I don't know, now it's June. They still owe, at the front screen it'll show $250. You actually have to go into that system, into that person, to see that there's interest added. It doesn't show it on that front screen. There's a lot of, and I don't know if you have any questions on the differences between some of them that I had sent. The, like lien releases, it's easier instead of us doing it as somebody pays, because really if you pay by personal check, you really have to wait until that check clears before you can release it on the land records.
Yeah.
So this is done like, say, once a month, say on the 15th for the month before, and you release them all at the same time. It's easier, probably makes it easier on the town clerk side also. There's name lookup. I know that years ago I had, my name was spelled wrong with DMV, and I have to make my last name. And it was actually 2 I's, which was the second and third letter. So I knew in QDS you can look it up by your first name. In GEMS it's very difficult, and you can actually miss somebody. You can actually miss what they owe, if they do owe something else. Any questions on any of it?
Okay, so what's the cost difference? Because we have budgeted based on, is it Walsh, which we have right now?
Yeah, I think it's $2,000 per department.
Per department.
So the extra fee for my office would be 2, and for Jerry's would be 2 also.
Okay, and I know at Finance Committee, we had discussed, like, the current contract, because we're in a, like, how much notice do you have to give, and what is the anticipated cutover date if we approve this to go to QDS?
Well, we were thinking sometime
Next year?
September.
Well, I don't know if it'll go next year,
Well,
because the
so-
contract is up for next June.
Right, so.
So like June 30th is Jem's contract. So we would actually have to switch over prior.
So you can't switch over until next year?
Well, we probably.
The contract ends
sooner.
June 25.
June 30th, actually.
Of 2025.
2025.
Which is the Walsh.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So you didn't, so is there any provision that you can get out of the contract, or we're in it until June 30, like?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, if I may, without going into too much detail, something became apparent to the town manager and us over the last several days regarding the conduct of the current vendor that may allow us to terminate the agreement much earlier.
Okay.
That we're
All right,
exploring
so we
right
will
now. It's a
let
developing
we
scenario.
will let you discuss that and update us as need be.
Yes.
As we move
Go
along.
get 'em.
Is it a learning curve? Like,
No, we both use the product.
I used it, actually, I used it for 14 years, before coming here. So, I'm familiar with the system. They do updates, and one thing they do is when they update their system, they update it for every town they have. They have about 160 towns. There's 169 in the state of Connecticut. So there's about 9 of them that actually have gems.
There's a trend.
So, and
We're behind.
I'm sorry?
This is for all the departments.
it's for our department.
Assessor tax.
Assessor and tax.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the new software, Quality Data Services, QDS, for Tax and Assessor's Office, and we'll be working with town attorney and town manager to stipulate best time for cutover.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Miller. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. The next two items are approvals of 2 bargaining agreements that we are just going to hold on because we have executive session first to discuss this, and when we come out of executive session, we'll go back to those items for approval. So the next item then is citizen statements and petitions. Any citizen statements at this time? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go, need a motion to go into executive session under CGS 1-200, strategy or negotiations with respect to the collective bargaining, to include the town attorneys, the finance director, the town manager.
So
Madam Mayor, I'd like to recuse myself from this discussion, okay? And
Okay.
if you post stuff, I'm abstaining from.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave,
Okay.
So moved?
Thank you.
Second?
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded, going into executive session. Thank you.
You get a bio break?
Yes.
Thank you.